Live from the Langara College Building A studios, this is Langara News with your hosts Melanie Green and Stu Neatby.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to today's edition of the Langara News. I'm Melanie Green.
And I'm Stu Neatby. Jumping into our top stories, fueling up just got a lot harder with only one gas station left in Vancouver's downtown core. Langara's students help preserve Holocaust history, and the Vancouver Canucks head to China.
Drivers in the Lower Mainland woke up to a price hike at the pumps. The price for a liter of gas went up almost 10 cents a liter overnight. Meanwhile, if you're looking to fuel up for the weekend, you may be waiting in line downtown to do so. It appears gas stations are a dying breed in Vancouver's core. Duncan Anderson explains why.
Chevron on West Georgia and Bidwell is closed. That leaves the Esso at Burrard and Davie as the last gas station in downtown Vancouver. The reason? The land is too valuable to keep as a single-use property. Karen Sue got the news this morning that there is only one gas station open downtown. She barely made it to the last station.
Only one gas station open downtown, and I thought, and then they said they had closed the Chevron, where I go all the time. So I actually had to limp here on fumes, hoping I'd make it here, which I did, which I'm lucky, but it's the last one. And I didn't even know this one existed. I actually had to put it on my GPS. That was something else, because I always use a Chevron.
Josie Mann goes to this gas station because it's closest to her.
It's the only one really in downtown that I can think of at the moment.
Daryl Beaton, an employee at Car Rental Vancouver, says his customers are going to be the ones affected by the Chevron closure.
Like today's not many people here, right? But it'll be, once the people realize that's not open, like the weekend, it'll be crazy busy probably here. Used to be four. There's one on Denman, one across the street here on Davie, the Chevron on Georgia. So this is the only one left.
Price of property is so expensive. That's what happens.
Mike Eames came to the Esso because of the price point.
Well, it's the only place I found it was 2 cents a liter cheaper. So I probably cost me that in getting over here, but I was coming this way anyway. So
Vancouver is not alone in disappearing gas stations as more developers close them down to make way for more profitable, high-density properties. For the Langara Voice, I'm Duncan Anderson.
Residents of the downtown east side are celebrating the cultural history of Oppenheimer Park today as the Squamish Nation replaces something that was accidentally taken years ago. Shoji Whittier has that story.
It's a very spiritual tree. We just did everything, canoes, travel, but many uses.
Sam George has a personal connection to cedar trees. His father made canoes out of them. Planting the tree is important to the Squamish Nation, and that's one of the reasons they're here today.
One tree went down accidentally, replanting this one, and we're having the ceremony to do it in the right way.
Oppenheimer Park is a staple of community life in the downtown east side.
This is one of the busiest parks we have per capita, so it is a park that we're here a lot for different events, protests, symbolic events. We have horseshoes, we have people playing games, we have duck feeding, we have so many things. We have free coffee happening, we have a children's playground. This is a very busy park for the size of it, and a very crucial park to the downtown east side.
The original cedar in the park was cut down by mistake, so the new tree is being planted to right that wrong.
Really wanting to honor the fact that First Nations here are planting a cedar tree, which is a highly symbolic tree. We're a city of reconciliation, and I think that's an incredibly important move towards that reconciliation.
For the Squamish Nation, Oppenheimer Park is more than just a community gathering place.
We inhabited all along here. This was all our hunting grounds. This was actually a place where we got hazelnut, all kinds of trees here, and the people came and harvested them. Anything that the Mother Earth gave us.
For Langara News, I'm Shoji Whittier.
First responders across Vancouver reported 162 overdose response calls this week, a 56% increase from last week. While most of the calls were in the downtown east side, Vancouver Fire and Rescue say numbers are still significant outside of the downtown area. Mayor Gregor Robertson said it's inconceivable that with 100 overdose deaths already this year in Vancouver, there's still no action from the province or the federal government on stopping the death toll in the fentanyl crisis.
A new 55-foot totem pole going up at UBC symbolizes more than just art. Sydney Morton spoke to carver James Hart about the reconciliation pole's journey from Haida Gwaii.
It took James Hart 2 years to find the right red cedar. He needed one tall enough at 55 feet to represent all the tragedies faced by the First Nation people in BC.
For me, it's not about softening any edges on any of this. It's about facing these times and understanding this is what had happened and also talk about a future.
The reconciliation pole is going up at UBC. Hart, a Haida Gwaii carver, began carving this pole with his 2 sons. Sadly, one of them passed away before the project could be completed.
We lost our youngest son on this project 2 years ago. He was with us in the beginning. We helped with the boats and the canoe and the eagle, getting things ready there and looking for the log. We took over a year to find this log, so he was part of us. We're out there in the woods checking it out all the time.
Langara student Charlene Lawrence helped hammer the copper nails into the pole. The nails have a particular significance. Each nail symbolizes a life stolen before its time.
But no, copper is just like the highest form of respect, and it just holds a lot of strength.
The 3 portions of the reconciliation pole symbolize the Indigenous culture post-colonization, during the impression of residential schools, and a hopeful future prosperity represented by the eagle sitting at the top. For Langara Voice, I am Sydney Morton.
After the break, we check in on an 8-month collaboration between Langara College students and survivors of the Holocaust. Stay with us.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With mentors fresh and full of life, nothing gets to you. Staying fresh, staying cool. With mentors fresh and full of life, fresh goes better. Mentors fresh, fresh goes better with mentors fresh and full of life. Mentos, the fresh maker.
Memories of pain, anguish, and hope are a part of a new Langara course where students are putting into words the untold stories of Holocaust survivors. Cass Lukey has the story.
Imagine not knowing something as simple as the day you were born.
My parents were Holocaust survivors, and so I've known, for I don't know how long, my whole life, I guess, that these are important stories, and I've also known they normally don't get told.
That's why Rachel started Writing Lives, pairing up students with Holocaust survivors. The goal was to get some of these untold memoirs written before it's too late.
He told us things he'd never told anyone, and some things were very emotional for him, and there were times where we would all be crying.
The project is unique, a hands-on experience students don't normally get a chance to learn about.
And I think this is a way not only for history to come alive, but also for to sort of get a different angles, to get a new story, to find out things for yourself.
With the semester coming to a close, the project is almost finished. But there are still many stories and many survivors wanting to share their history in order for future generations to understand what happened.
There's not really much of a chance to do this if we wait 10 years.
Minds thinks the project can expand to discover the history of other subjects.
There are a lot of groups of people in Vancouver that could participate in a project like this. And, just off the top of my head, possibly residential school survivors, groups like refugees.
The Writing Lives project's closing ceremony on April 20th will celebrate the completed memoirs and the unearthed stories.
Some very harsh realities and harsh truths that certain people had to survive that we're not talking about. And I think for closure, to process it and to honor the memories of those who went through it, we need to talk about it.
For the Langara Voice, I'm Cass Lukey.
The North Shore is known for its picturesque hiking trails, but where do the runners fit into the equation? Claire Hennig has more.
Running is taking off in the North Shore, and with the sunny weather, more and more people are out on the trails.
I really sense a huge growth in especially the trail running. I mean, the road running, it's always been there, but trail running the past couple of years, you could really see it, and you could feel it in the trail. There's more people. You're not as alone as you thought you were.
Hikers and cyclists are the most visible on the trails, but they are not the only ones using them. The idea to give runners a voice started months ago, but only recently has it taken off.
A small group of runners have got together. We have a core group of about 10 to 12 runners. I'm not sure exactly on the number. And we've started up a Facebook group page.
The group quickly jumped from a dozen runners to more than 320.
And that way we could start to get a better representation of our trail runners on the North Shore.
A lot of it's singular, so there needs to be a better community built up, I think.
There's a cyclist association and one for hikers, but the Runners Alliance is the first of its kind.
I think it would be a great idea to have more representation for runners.
The Trail Runners Alliance is meeting with other organizations tomorrow and expects even more runners to hit the trail soon. For the Langara Voice, I'm Claire Hennig.
Well, the rain has stopped, and Chelsea Powery and Evan Hagedorn checked out what Vancouverites were up to now that the sun is back.
Thanks, Stu and Mel. Well, Vancouver, I have some good news for you. It looks like the sun is here to stay, at least for another couple of days. We might have a couple showers on Saturday, but the sun will be back by Sunday. And in honor of this gorgeous day, our reporter Evan Hagedorn headed out to find out how Vancouverites are celebrating. Plus, he found out a little about a surprise that might be in store in Vancouver skies tonight.
Clear skies and a light breeze brought sun-starved Vancouverites outside to play today after days of record rainfall. Park and beachgoers took full advantage of the break. At Hot and Dog Park Beach and Vanier Park, dog owners were especially happy to stay dry while giving their dogs a walk.
Last 2 days we've dog walked because we have to, and that's the only reason we went outside. We ventured. And got soaked. It was like taking him for a swim in the ocean 3 times over just on a dog walk.
Other Vancouverites took the opportunity to go for a stroll, get some exercise, or just enjoy the ocean views, and the plans for later were much the same.
Glass of wine, outside, just outside.
But the fun won't end when the sun goes down today. According to the data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration this morning, Vancouver might get a rare treat for tonight.
So the northern lights, or the aurora borealis, are the northern half of the aurora system that we have on the Earth. So there's northern lights as well as southern lights. And what they are is it's the interaction between solar wind and our magnetosphere and our atmosphere.
The northern lights displays a shifting band of light in the night sky that can be white, green, blue, and red in color. To Keefe, it's a rare scene in Vancouver because it requires a strong coronal mass injection, or CME, on the surface of the sun.
Material from the CME can actually get even closer to the Earth at different places. It can make it through the magnetosphere, and that's when you tend to see the northern lights farther south.
Tonight, the visible line of the aurora crosses through Vancouver, but if city dwellers want to catch the show, they'll need to travel a little.
So the best place to view the auroras, if you are going to view them in Vancouver, is north of the city. So you want to get the city south of you, and you want to get the predominance of the lights to the south of you. Other places you can actually go, out by UBC, because it's kind of far enough west away from the city. You're not directly in line of sight of that.
Might seem like a bit of effort, but according to Keefe, the northern lights are worth the trek.
It's a life-changing experience.
For Langara News, I'm Evan Hagedorn.
Coming up, breaking the rules of art gallery etiquette. We'll explain after this.
Journalism school is a never-ending pile of homework.
It can be really hard to keep yourself organized.
Deadlines are of the utmost importance in this industry. That's why we have a timestamp machine.
There's more than one way to meet a deadline.
Oh my god! Just remember, journalism is not a race. We'll probably all finish.
Do you find it hard to stay awake in class?
Are you constantly reaching for caffeine to stay alert? Is your wallet suffering from your stimulant addiction? There's an answer. Introducing the 15-minute nap, guaranteed to give you that energy boost you need. Simply set a timer on your phone for 15 minutes. Snuggle up with your favorite pillow, teddy bears are optional, and sleep tight. After 15 minutes, you'll feel refreshed and ready to face even the dullest assignment.
A local gallery is taking a hands-on approach to help you feel the impact of classic artwork. Sasha Zeidler has the story.
Forget everything you know about look, don't touch when it comes to art.
There's an educational aspect as well. They're going to use these to let people who might not ever get to see a Monet or a Van Gogh see them and touch them. You can touch them.
Artworks Gallery in downtown Vancouver is encouraging visitors to experience art in a whole new way. The exhibit has drawn in visitors of all ages to experience and touch 3D reproductions of masterpieces.
A lot of parents have brought their children because they want their children to begin young, at a young age, to have an appreciation for art. And the kids touching them is just a joy to watch.
Virus, the company who creates the pieces, doesn't plan to stop after this exhibit. The company hopes to include a modern art collection. For now, this touchable exhibit will become a permanent collection at Artworks Gallery. For Langara News, I'm Sasha Zeidler.
Next to sports, the Whitecaps will be on the pitch this weekend, and the Canucks are on the ice tonight. With more, here's Jason Gilder.
Thank you, Stu. It's been a slow day in sports, but an NHL hockey announcement affecting the Canucks dropped last night. For the first time in NHL history, the game is headed to China. League Commissioner Gary Bettman announced yesterday that the Vancouver Canucks will play the LA Kings for the first time in Asia. The preseason games will take place on September 21st in Shanghai and September 23rd in Beijing. Shifting to more hockey, 5 Canadian NHL teams currently sit in playoff position, a year after no Canadian sides advanced to the postseason. The Edmonton Oilers are the only team to officially clinch, with the Calgary Flames, Montreal Canadiens, Ottawa Senators, and Toronto Maple Leafs in serious contention. If the playoffs started today, the Leafs and Sens would square off in a fiery battle of Ontario. While the Canucks are out of the playoffs, they have a home game tonight against the LA Kings. And finally in soccer, we'll kick it over to analyst Sam Mowers for the latest Whitecaps news.
Well, the Whitecaps have had a rocky start to the season. They're looking to bounce back with 2 home games in the next 4 days. First one is a matchup against the LA Galaxy, who are also struggling with just 1 win under their belt. The Caps could pick up some momentum with that one. 3 days later, Caps host Tigres UANL of Monterrey, Mexico, in the second leg of their CONCACAF Champions League semifinal series.
So what's at stake for the Caps on Tuesday night?
Well, if the Whitecaps prevail, they'll advance to the finals of the Champions League.
All right. Well, thank you, Sam. And for Langara News Sports, I'm Jason Gilder. Back to you, Stu.
Thank you, gentlemen. In entertainment, Curtis Gregory brings us the latest from the big and the small screens.
Thanks, Stuart. 13 Reasons Why, a popular teen novel, is now a new Netflix series. The plot focuses on the mystery around a teenage girl's suicide, and there's some big names behind the project. Selena Gomez is one of the producers of the 13-episode series. The show is expected to have the same cult following as the book by Jay Asher and will debut tomorrow. An Inconvenience sequel, Vice President Al Gore's follow-up to his Academy Award-winning documentary, takes direct aim at U.S. President Donald Trump. Warming attitudes towards climate change action has put the president at odds with many important players in the conversation. China state media released an editorial this morning urging Donald Trump to roll back his stance on environmental regulations, while the world's largest publicly traded oil company, ExxonMobil, urged the president to remain in the Paris Climate Agreement. An Inconvenience sequel will open in theaters on July 28th. Disney's animated juggernaut Frozen was intended to feature an evil and villainous Elsa, revealed one of the film's producers. The first draft of the movie's script had the now famous sisters as unrelated combatants, with Elsa playing the antagonist. The decision to stray further from the Hans Christian Andersen story, from which the movie is based, may have been the fuel that propelled the film into the cultural spotlight. And now, to Cassandra Osborne with the trailer that's bringing back winter.
It's not just bringing back winter, Curtis. It broke the internet. It's the first season 7 trailer from Game of Thrones. 90 seconds long and called The Long Walk, fans are very excited. The trailer features 3 characters, including Jon Snow, walking towards the Iron Throne to take a seat. The new season is expected to air on July 16th. While we're all excited for beginnings of new seasons to binge on, for one show, things are coming to an end. Mindy Kaling of the Mindy Project just announced that season 6 will be the last one. The show was cancelled by Fox after its 3rd season, but it survived once it was picked up on Hulu. Unfortunately for fans, that won't be the case this time. The final season will come out in September.
That's all we have time for today. From all of us here at Langara News, thank you for joining us. I'm Melanie Green.
And I'm Stu Newby. Thank you for tuning in.